The morning sun bathed the forest in golden light, its rays piercing through the thick canopy of ancient trees. Birds sang softly, their melodies harmonizing with the gentle rustle of leaves stirred by the wind. Disciples gathered in a semicircle, their eyes fixed on Buddha's serene expression beneath the Bodhi tree. Silence enveloped the group, broken only by the sound of breathing and the occasional snap of a twig. Buddha gazed at each of them, his eyes carrying both compassion and wisdom. His voice emerged, calm and steady, filling the space like ripples across a still pond. Self-acceptance begins with understanding why we struggle to see ourselves clearly, he began. Let me share a story of Sunanda, a young man burdened by his own illusions. The disciples leaned forward, anticipation etched onto their faces. Buddha's voice had the power to bring images to life, as vivid as morning dew glistening on petals. Sunanda was skilled, crafting exquisite pottery that captured the admiration of all. Yet, in his heart, doubts festered like shadows. He stood before a shimmering pond, longing to understand why he felt incomplete despite others praising his work. Buddha continued. The surface mirrored his reflection, but ripples distorted it with every motion of the wind or falling leaf. Frustrated, he struck the water, his anger disrupting the pond's delicate harmony. The reflection twisted further, adding to his despair. Buddha said. Sunanda's actions deepened his turmoil, like a storm feeding its own strength and tearing through the calm. Ananda raised his hand slightly, seeking clarification. Master, why did striking the water worsen his anguish? He asked. Buddha smiled and replied. The turbulence of his mind mirrored the ripples in the pond. He thought he was battling external imperfection. A quiet murmur passed through the disciples as the meaning sank in. Buddha's words always carried lessons, layered like petals unfolding from a bud. As Sunanda's anger raged, a wise wanderer approached. Watching him with gentle curiosity, Buddha said. The wanderer spoke softly. Child, the pond reflects not your imperfections but your thoughts. Calm your heart to see clearly. Buddha paused, letting the disciples absorb the wisdom in silence. They nodded, recognizing the resonance with their own lives. Sunanda hesitated, fearing he would find his flaws unchanged. Yet, the wanderer's kindness gave him courage to still his breath. Buddha explained. Breathing slowed, and the ripples diminished, revealing the pond's true reflection. Serene and undisturbed, with clarity, Sunanda saw his reflection unchanged. But his perception shifted. He realized the distortion arose from his inner turmoil. Buddha added. Self-acceptance bloomed as he grasped the truth. Perfection is not found in erasing ripples, but calming their source. A disciple seated near Ananda spoke next, his voice hesitant. Master, how can we calm the ripples of fear and doubt that often cloud our hearts? Buddha turned to him, his gaze steady yet inviting. Recognize that such ripples are fleeting and cannot define the stillness beneath, he answered. Another disciple, younger and still learning, whispered audibly. Master, does stillness mean we must silence every thought? Buddha chuckled lightly, his laughter a rare sound, as refreshing as rain after drought. Stillness is acceptance of motion without resistance, he clarified. Imagine a dancer moving across the floor with grace, her movements flowing like water. Stillness lies in harmony, not absence, Buddha elaborated. Accept each thought as part of the dance, without clinging to or resisting its presence. Ananda reflected on Buddha's example, his brow furrowed as understanding blossomed slowly. Buddha smiled, observing the thoughtful expression as another opportunity for teaching emerged. Does the dancer's grace come from perfection, or from allowing imperfections to exist as part of beauty? Buddha asked. The water beneath the dancer's feet reflects her image. Flawed yet beautiful, like Sunanda, we too find clarity here, Buddha said. His voice softened, and the disciples felt the gravity of his words, grounding them like roots holding firm beneath the soil. In self-acceptance, struggle arises not from imperfection itself, but from rejecting what makes us unique. Struggle is the veil masking truth, Buddha said. We gaze upon the distorted reflection, unaware it is shaped by our judgments. Truth emerges with gentle observation. A disciple near the edge of the group asked cautiously, "What if the distortion persists, and we cannot see the truth within ourselves?" Buddha addressed him directly, his tone gentle. Distortion lingers only when we resist seeing ourselves with compassion and without attachment. He said, "Each ripple of self-doubt seeks acknowledgement, not rejection. Embrace the ripple to calm the pond, revealing its true nature," Buddha explained. As the wanderer guided Sunanda, allow wisdom to guide you toward embracing your reflection without fear. The disciples sat in silent thought, connecting Sunanda's story to their own journeys. Buddha's presence brought a stillness, resonating like the quiet of dawn. Self-acceptance begins by pausing long enough to see ourselves as we are. Unmasked by illusion, Buddha concluded. The morning wore on, yet the disciples felt as if time itself had stilled, allowing them to absorb the depth of Buddha's teaching. Birds continued their song, harmonizing with the lessons learned beneath the Bodhi tree, the sanctuary where truths unveiled themselves. In the distance, the sound of the river carried softly to their ears, as if echoing the flow of thoughts calmed by wisdom. Buddha stood, his hands coming together in a gesture of compassion, signaling the end of the teaching for now. The disciples bowed in reverence, their hearts lighter, as if the weight of self-doubt had lifted like mist before the sun. Buddha's teaching would remain with them, carried in their minds like seeds waiting to blossom, nourished by understanding and care. As the group dispersed, their steps seemed lighter, their paths clearer. The forest watched quietly, bearing witness to their growth, its leaves whispering encouragement. Buddha remained under the Bodhi tree, his presence a reminder of the wisdom that sought to guide, not command. The story of Sunanda lingered in their thoughts, an episode illuminating their struggles. Buddha's voice had shown them the way, steady as the flow of a river carving through stone. Beneath the Bodhi tree, teachings continued to unfold, shaping lives with clarity and grace. Another day dawned, the sky painted in hues of amber and crimson as the sun rose above the distant hills. Disciples gathered once again, their robes brushing the grass, their hearts carrying questions born of silent contemplation through the night. Buddha sat poised under the Bodhi tree, his presence grounding them as firmly as roots anchor the earth. Maha Kassapa addressed the Buddha, his voice steady but inquisitive. "Master, even when we calm our minds, the weight of doubt persists. How do we release such burdens?" Buddha closed his eyes momentarily, allowing the question to settle within him like water in a still vessel. His voice emerged, measured and clear, carrying the cadence of a river flowing steadily toward its course. "There was once a woman named Sila," Buddha began, his words weaving a story as vivid as sunlight through mist. Sila carried a heavy stone, believing it was part of her identity, a mark of her worth and struggle. Disciples leaned forward, drawn into the narrative, eager to uncover its lessons hidden like pearls in an ocean's depths. Day by day, Sila bore the stone's weight. Her shoulders ached, her spirit wearied, but she clung to it. Buddha continued. She feared that releasing the stone would strip her of meaning, leaving her hollow and undefined. Maha Kassapa's brow furrowed as he listened, mirroring the tension in the tale. Buddha glanced at him, his gaze holding reassurance. Sila came upon a river one afternoon, its waters inviting yet unknown. An elder watched her, seated by the riverbank. Buddha said. The elder, observing her burden, spoke kindly. "Child, Why do you carry this stone wherever you go? Buddha's voice carried the elder's warmth, its compassionate tone bringing life to the interaction. Sila hesitated, clutching the stone as though her grip alone preserved its significance. Without it, I would not be myself, she replied. Buddha recounted. The elder smiled knowingly, his wisdom shimmering like sunlight dancing upon the river's surface. Step into the river, and let the waters hold your stone. Sila gazed at the river, doubt flickering like shadows across her mind. Yet, curiosity urged her forward. Her steps tentative, Buddha said. The cool waters enveloped her, soothing her weary feet. With trembling hands, she lowered the stone into the current. Disciples exchanged glances, anticipation stirring among them as the tale unfolded. As the river embraced the stone, its weight diminished, carried by the flowing waters. Sila felt the burden ease upon her shoulders, Buddha explained. She realized the stone's heaviness was never truly hers but something she had chosen to carry. Buddha paused, allowing his words to sink into the disciples' hearts like rain nourishing parched soil. Maha. Kasapa's eyes widened as understanding dawned. Buddha continued, his voice soft yet resolute. Sila's fear dissolved, replaced by clarity. She released the stone, watching it drift away, carried by the river's unyielding flow. Disciples listened intently, the imagery vivid in their minds, the lessons shaping their thoughts. Master, how do we recognize the stones we carry as illusions and release them without fear? A younger disciple asked earnestly. Buddha turned to him, his gaze steady as the rhythm of a beating heart. Reflect upon the burdens you bear, discerning their roots in fear, judgment, and attachment, he advised. Like Sila, step into the current of understanding, allowing your burdens to rest in its embrace without clinging, Buddha said. Each burden seeks acknowledgement, not rejection. By accepting it as transient, you empower yourself to release it without resistance. Disciples nodded slowly, their hearts aligning with Buddha's teachings like stars following celestial patterns. A disciple, seated near Ananda, voiced his thoughts with cautious conviction. Master, does releasing burdens mean we forget their significance entirely? Buddha replied with a serene smile, his tone carrying reassurance like a lantern dispelling darkness. No burden is forgotten, but its weight becomes memory, not anchor. Lessons remain, unchained by the sorrow of attachment. Each burden teaches before flowing away like the river's ceaseless current, Buddha explained. Sila's stone defined her struggle, yet releasing it marked her growth. The stone no longer owned her story. Disciples marveled at the interplay of loss and liberation, seeing both as essential components of self-acceptance. Maha Kassapa reflected upon Buddha's words, his heart seeking deeper clarity. Master, what if we cannot step into the river, paralyzed by fear of letting go? Buddha addressed him directly, his gaze unwavering yet gentle. Fear dwells in the unknown, magnified by clinging to familiar struggle. Acknowledge fear without becoming its captive. The river flows despite hesitation. Trust its path, knowing the waters guide each burden toward release and renewal, Buddha said. To step forward requires faith not in certainty but in impermanence. Movement alone carries the possibility of transformation. Disciples considered Buddha's words, finding strength in the notion of surrender as liberation. Ananda raised his hand slightly, seeking additional wisdom. Master, does surrender mean weakness, abandoning our pursuit of growth? Buddha chuckled softly, his laughter light as wind passing through hollow reeds. Surrender is strength, revealing courage to face life's currents with openness. Sila's strength lay in lowering the stone, not holding it indefinitely. Growth emerges from allowing burdens to dissolve, Buddha said. Weakness arises in clinging to permanence. Believing transformation threatens identity rather than enhances it. Ananda's furrowed brow relaxed, understanding blossoming like sunlight unfurling petals. Master, does the river represent truth itself, guiding us toward clarity and freedom? A disciple asked, his voice filled with awe. Buddha nodded, his expression serene as the dawn sky. The river mirrors truth's nature, constant yet ever-changing, flowing toward the ocean of infinite understanding. Truth carries burdens away, not by erasing their significance but by reframing them within impermanence's embrace. Buddha elaborated, like Silas stone, each burden flows toward renewal, shaping the river's path without disrupting its eternal course. Disciples listened intently, their minds alight with wisdom illuminating the darkness within. Another day wore on. Yet Buddha's presence remained timeless, grounding the disciples amid the forest's harmonious stillness. Birds continued their song, harmonizing with the teachings shared beneath the Bodhi tree. Buddha stood, his hands coming together in a gesture of gratitude and compassion. Disciples bowed in reverence, their hearts lighter, their paths clearer. The forest bore witness to their growth, its leaves whispering encouragement. Buddha's voice had unveiled the way forward, steady as the river carving through stone. Beneath the Bodhi tree, truths continued to unfold, shaping lives with clarity and grace. Another day unfolded, the sun climbing steadily into the sky, its warmth dispelling the chill of dawn lingering in the air. Disciples gathered near the Bodhi tree, their faces reflecting quiet contemplation, as if carrying unspoken questions deep within their hearts. Buddha sat with serene composure, his presence as steady as the earth beneath him, the embodiment of calm and wisdom. Venerable Rahula, silent until now, raised his gaze to meet the Buddha's, his eyes seeking what words could not convey. Buddha acknowledged him with a gentle nod, sensing the inquiry rooted in his disciple's soul. Master, Rahula finally spoke, his voice soft. What is the essence of self-acceptance? How do we grow into it, despite our doubts? Buddha smiled, his expression like sunlight breaking through clouds, and began to speak, weaving a tale to illuminate the path. There was once a seed buried deep within the earth, its world shrouded in darkness. It yearned for light, yet feared the unknown. The seed questioned its worth, doubting whether it could become more than its present form. It worried it would fail. Buddha said. Rain fell, nourishing the soil, and the sun warmed the earth. The seed trembled but allowed itself to absorb both. Disciples listened intently, captivated by the unfolding narrative that mirrored their own struggles and aspirations. As time passed, the seed sprouted, breaking through the earth's surface, reaching toward the sun it once feared. Buddha continued. Its fragile stem carried doubts, but it did not let them halt its growth. The journey of becoming had begun. Buddha paused, allowing the disciples to absorb the image of the seed's hesitant but determined emergence. The sprout grew into a magnificent flower, its petals unfurling in vibrant colors admired by all who beheld its beauty. Buddha said. The flower did not compare itself to the towering trees or the soaring birds. It simply embraced its own nature. Rahula nodded slowly, the story resonating deeply within him, shedding light on his silent question. Master, another disciple asked, how can we embrace our growth without succumbing to fear or doubt that shadows us? Buddha turned toward him, his gaze steady yet compassionate, carrying the assurance of unspoken truths. Fear and doubt are companions on the path, not adversaries. Acknowledge them, but do not let them dictate your journey. Each doubt is a rainstorm, nourishing the soil of your growth. Each fear is sunlight, urging you to reach higher. Buddha explained. Do not resist their presence. Instead, allow them to coexist with your progress, guiding you towards self-acceptance. Disciples exchanged glances, finding wisdom in Buddha's gentle reframing of fear and doubt. Rahula reflected upon Buddha's words, his expression thoughtful. Master, Does self-acceptance mean achieving perfection? Becoming flawless in every aspect? He asked. Buddha chuckled softly, his laughter like ripples upon a calm pond, carrying both warmth and clarity. Perfection is an illusion, created by comparison and judgment. True acceptance lies in embracing imperfection as part of your nature. Consider the flower that blooms. Its petals may bear spots. Its leaves may curl, yet its beauty remains undiminished, Buddha elaborated. Growth is not about erasing flaws but allowing them to exist alongside your strengths, forming a harmonious whole. Disciples nodded, their hearts finding solace in the idea that imperfection could coexist with self-worth. A younger disciple, seated near Rahula, voiced his thoughts. Master, how do we move forward when self-doubt feels insurmountable? Blocking the path ahead? Buddha addressed him with a steady voice, his tone both calming and encouraging. Take small steps, like the sprout breaking through the soil. Each step diminishes doubt's hold on you. Do not seek to conquer doubt entirely, for it is part of your journey. Instead, grow through it, with courage as your guide, Buddha said. The flower does not wait for its fears to vanish before blooming. It allows growth to coexist with uncertainty. Disciples considered Buddha's words, finding strength in the notion of progress despite imperfection. Rahula spoke again, his voice tinged with awe. Master, does the journey of the seed and the flower mirror the essence of self-acceptance itself? Buddha nodded, his expression serene, as though confirming an eternal truth known yet unspoken. The seed's journey embodies self-acceptance, revealing the courage to grow despite the shadows cast by doubt. Self-acceptance is not about silencing fears but about growing through them, allowing your nature to unfold into its fullest form, Buddha said. Like the flower, you enrich the world by being true to yourself. Flaws and strengths intertwined. Disciples listened intently, their hearts alight with the wisdom illuminating their struggles. Another day wore on, yet Buddha's teachings remained timeless, guiding the disciples toward understanding and growth. Birds sang softly, their melodies harmonizing with the lessons shared beneath the Bodhi tree. Buddha's voice had shown them the way forward, steady as the sun's ascent. Disciples bowed in reverence, their hearts lighter, their paths clearer. The forest bore witness to their growth, its leaves whispering encouragement. Buddha's teachings continued to unfold, shaping lives with clarity and grace, revealing the essence of self-acceptance in each step taken. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.